asked, would it lower healthcare costs while improving access to healthcare, which Obamacare has?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you created a system that was more consumer-directed, where people had information, where they were engaged in their healthcare decisions, they could pick the doctor in the clinic and the hospital that they choose, that they had a variety of different options, that the basic plan, the basic option provided by states, not the federal government anymore, was a low premium, higher deductible, catastrophic coverage. That's the role, I think, the proper role of the government is to make sure that people have the catastrophic coverage to assure that there's not a high impact event that changes their life and their family's life. And then you have the ways for small businesses and larger businesses and the government, depending on income, to provide support for the co-pays and the out-of-pocket costs. That is the proper way of doing this. And you could lower costs and improve quality. The second thing we need to do is to tear down the barriers of innovation. I mean, there are so many tools now making it possible for people to engage in their own health care by knowing that they're eating right, knowing when there's an acute outbreak of something, by just having devices on our body, being able to wirelessly send messages out to our caregivers and to our healthcare providers. There's so much that we can do, but the barriers now of innovation have been stifled by the FDA. And I think we need to tear them down so that people are more engaged consumers. The final thing I'd say is Washington has too much power. And why this matters is that the single biggest reason why we haven't seen rising income in this recovery is rising healthcare costs. And that relates to nothing related to the exchanges themselves. It's the impact Obamacare has on the broad number of people that are getting their care through their companies. With all these mandates, you have higher costs, and businesses now are pushing more and more of those costs through higher premiums and higher co-pays on the employees. And that has to be reversed. If you want to create rising income and greater jobs, then eliminate these employer-employee mandates. There are 6.5 million people working part-time right now. And a lot of them are working part-time because Obamacare does not kick in for people that are working less than 30 hours. So trusting people to interact in their own communities in a way will create, I think, lower costs, economic prosperity, and better health.
Entre paréntesis, me permiten decir esta pregunta en español. I want to ask a question. The only question.
Pido permiso a los que hablan inglés.
I want to ask the only question I'll ask in Spanish, and it has to do with immigration, and then I'll ask it in English as well for our English-speaking audience. So la pregunta es, actualmente los dos partidos están puestos en una posición fija sobre lo que es la reforma de inmigración. Por un lado, unos piden legalización, una visa para trabajar, que les da la certidumbre de que no van a ser deportados. Por el otro lado, piden un paso a la ciudadanía. Entonces, ¿cómo reconciliar esas diferencias y qué piensa usted sería la mejor reforma para ser un justo remedio para eso?
Mira, hay algunos en nuestro partido, en mi partido, que no están ni para legalización.
Ni para otro.
No quieren dejarlos la gente en las sombras, y yo rechazo eso totalmente. Yo creo que tenemos que tener un proceso de legalización, donde las personas salen de la sombra, reciben un permiso de trabajo, una tarjeta que reconoce que está aquí provisionalmente, que no se comete crimen, que paga impuestos, que aprende inglés y que trabaja, que no recibe asistencia del gobierno federal y que trabaja. Y por un proceso gana el privilegio de ser permanentemente legal aquí. Eso creo que es donde hay el compromiso entre las ideas diversas que existen. Pero tenemos que hacerlo ya, ¿no? Por esto de años. Es beneficio para todos de crear un ambiente, como acabo de describirlo, donde hay permanencia, donde hay certidumbre para que la gente pueda conseguir sus vidas sin tener la angustia de que su primo tiene problemas o algo. Eso ya, tenemos que cambiarlo.
Y es bueno para nuestra economía.
Es súper bueno para la economía. Y a la misma vez hay que controlar la frontera. ¿Alguien piensa aquí que controlar la frontera no es importante? Sube su... No, ¿alguien tiene una opinión en contrario de eso? You do? Open border? Bueno, es un 1% del grupo, porque la gran mayoría de las personas creen que hay que respetar la ley y hay que respetar las personas que están aquí legal, que tienen derecho a estar aquí. Ellos sí tienen derechos y valores, pero los que quieren venir cuando quieren y no ir por el proceso hacen daño a los que están pacientemente esperando la llegada, ¿no?
Quiero preguntarle ahora en inglés. So I want to ask you now in English the same question. You have said that immigration is an act of love because folks come to America to improve the lives of their loved ones.
Yeah.
Some have asserted that a work visa bill would satisfy market forces and labor demand, while others argue a path to citizenship is the only acceptable reform. What steps can we take to ensure that immigration reform is fair to both current and potential future citizens of the United States?
So we need to control the border. We need to make legal immigration easier than